The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Comelec has extended the deadline for the application of transfer of registration records from overseas to Philippines until September 30. The last day for a transfer of records now coincides with the deadline for regular voters' registration. The Comelec and Bank made the decision to prevent repatriated OFWs to be deprived of the right to vote. The poll body said that applicants for the transfer of records from abroad must be a resident of the locality where he or she will vote in the 2022 polls. Applicants must also personally file the application in their LGU's office of the election officer. The IATF has approved the soft launch of the VaxCertPH tomorrow. OFWs and Filipinos leaving the Philippines will be prioritized in the initial phase of the program. This applies to those with existing residences in Metro Manila and Baguio City. The implementation of the VaxCertPH will be open to the general public at a later date. Meanwhile, the Immigration Bureau warns the public against bogus immigration officers offering fake entry passes to the country. BI spokesperson Dana Sandoval says these fake officers target foreigners or those who are temporarily barred from entering the country. Sandoval says the scheme is common in Facebook. Only Filipinos returning OFWs and foreign nationals with valid and existing visas are allowed to enter the country.
Very strict po tayo. We have our gadgets. Meron po tayo mga technologies that are at par with international counterparts that are able to detect kung meron po mga fake na documents, fake na passport, or fake na visas na kanila pong ipresenta sa immigration.
Resort owners in Batangas are appealing to the government to allow them to welcome visitors coming from NCR Plus areas. Laila Pangilinan with a story.
The president of the Resort Owners Association in Mabini, Batangas, got the chance to talk to the IATF and tourism officials regarding their plea to allow resorts in the area to reopen. Resort owners said they want to welcome travelers from the NCR Plus area while strictly implementing health and safety protocols.
Sumulat ako muli kay Secretary Berna at nakikiusap po ako na kay Madam Tourism Secretary na hindi naman po galing sa tourism sector yung pagkakaroon ng transmission kasi po talaga napakahigpit namin when it comes to accepting guests. Sana naman po ay bigyan muli kami ng pagkakataon na makapagbukas kahit na po ang Manila ay nasa sa ano pa rin, nasa sa MGCQ. Di namin na hindi naman talaga nanggagaling sa turismo ang mga transmission ng disease dahil po talaga kami napakaingat dito sa Mabini, Batangas.
Residents in Batangas and those from GCQ areas are only allowed to stay in the resorts in Mabini.
Kapag ka naman po dito lang sa Batangas area, that means province of Batangas at ilang GCQ na probinsya, pwede namang pumasok provided na meron kang mga tinatawag natin na safety protocols na sinusunod. Yung RT-PCR na negative, swab antigen na negative po, at saka reservation sa mga hotel.
They said that resorts in Batangas have incurred millions in losses 2 years into the pandemic.
2.53 billion already in revenues around Mabini sa mga resort po yan. Kasi po talaga pong masasabi natin na bumalik sa pagiging primitive ang pamamaraan pagdating sa scuba diving, pagdating sa resort, pagdating sa sa turismo. Nasa sa 60% po ng populasyon ng Anilao, Mabini, Batangas ay karamihan ay sa turismo umaasa ng pagkakabuhayan. At ito po ay talagang naapektuhan dahil sa pagsasara ngayon ng mga resort.
Aside from resort owners, employees working in the resorts were not spared from the impact of the lockdowns. Among them is Almira, a part of the housekeeping staff in one of the resorts.
Napakahirap po ng ganito pong sitwasyon ng pandemic. Sobra po kasi sa totoo lang po, Siyempre marami po kaming resort na wala pong trabaho, tulad din po namin.
However, the local government of Mabini is still undecided whether to allow these resorts to welcome NCR Plus visitors or not.
You are looking in the health and safety protocol and at the same time, the economic effects nito pong COVID-19 virus. Na alam namin na ang Metro Manila talaga is directly affected din po eh. Nangangambo po kami sa pagkakataong ito na baka yung mga visitors coming from the NCR, sila yung maging carrier ng virus dito po, hindi lang sa aming bayan, kundi sa buong probinsya ng Batangas.
The Resort Owners Association in Mabini is also asking the LGU to vaccinate their staff to ensure their safety as they welcome visitors coming from different areas. This will also assure guests that they are safe while staying in their resorts. For News 5, Laila Pangilinan, We Are One News.
Here are the top stories in the world of sports. Tennis world number one Novak Djokovic is now one game closer to his calendar Grand Slam goal after he defeated Japan's Kei Nishikori. Nishikori took the first set, but Djokovic showed his ability to perform under pressure in what ended up being a 3.5-hour match. This is Djokovic's 17th consecutive victory over the Japanese star and improving to an 18-2 in their overall rivalry. Djokovic is now 24-0 in Grand Slam matches this season. Manila Chooks TM bows out of the 2021 FIBA 3-on-3 Montreal Monsters after losing to world number 10 Edmonton 16-21. Fouls plagued the endgame despite a gallant stand from Mactalio to keep the Filipinos within striking or streaking distance from the Canadians. Talio finished with a game-high 11 points, but that was not enough for them to secure a win. Manila Chooks ended the TIFF in joint 10th place among 12 teams, averaging 13.5 points in the contest. Kobe Paras goes pro in Japan B-League after signing a contract with Niigata Albirex. Earlier today, Niigata announced that they have assigned Paras to a professional contract for the 2021-2022 B-League season. This makes him the first Asian import of the club and the 7th Filipino to join the Japan B-League. Niigata will open their season on October 2 against Kyoto. Europe will host its first major car show in 2 years since the start of the pandemic. But they will do more than just lift the veil on shiny sheet metal in this event. More details in this Bloomberg Quick Take.
I think a lot of the concept cars that we're seeing are addressing the new way that car manufacturers have to start to think about mobility. You know, where will these cars be used? Is it in nature? Is it city center? Electric cars can't be a one-size-fits-all.
They've learned new digital ways of introducing their product to customers and the media. So definitely there's been a huge number of learnings from the crisis, and how many of them go forward will be really interesting to see. I think they will be monitoring very, very closely what they get out of Munich and whether it really is delivering the best bang for their buck.
This IAA is going to be really interesting because it's the first one in 2 years. I think that what we see here is going to be a big indication of what we're going to see in the future from the German automotive industry.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. With the deadline fast approaching, voter registration for the 2022 elections will resume tomorrow in areas under MECQ from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Mondays to Saturdays, including holidays. After incurring millions in losses 2 years into the pandemic, Batangas resort owners call on the government to allow visitors from the NCR Plus area while vowing to strictly implement health and safety protocols. And the domestic flights have resumed in Afghanistan between Kabul and its three major areas a few weeks after the Taliban took control of the country. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 1 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on a Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.